The Cosmos, the Macrocosm, Part 2. The instruments are in the external body, the gross body of man, but the mind and the intellect are not. They are in what is called in Hindu philosophy the finer body, and what in Christian theology you read of as the spiritual body of man. Finer, very much finer than the body, and yet not the soul. This soul is beyond them all. The external body perishes in a few years. Any simple cause may disturb and destroy it. The finer body is not so easy perishable. Yet it sometimes degenerates and at other times becomes strong. We see how in the old man the mind loses its strength, how when the body is vigorous the mind becomes vigorous, how various medicines and drugs affect it, how everything external acts on it, and how it reacts on the external world. Just as the body has its progress and decadence, so also has the mind. And therefore, the mind is not the soul, because the soul can neither decay nor degenerate. How can we know that? How can we know that there is something behind this mind? Because knowledge, which is self illuminating and the basis of intelligence, cannot belong to dull dead matter. Never was seen any gross matter which had intelligence as its own essence. No dull or dead matter can illumine itself. It is intelligence that illumines all matter. This hall is here only through intelligence because, as a hall, its existence would be unknown unless some intelligence built it. This body is not self-luminous. If it were, it would be so in a dead man also. Neither can the mind nor the spiritual body be self-luminous. They are not of the essence of intelligence. That which is self-luminous cannot decay. The luminosity of that which shines through a borrowed light comes and goes. But that which is light itself, what can make that come and go, flourish and decay? We see that the moon waxes and wanes because it shines through the borrowed light of the sun. If a lump of iron is put into the fire and made red hot, it glows and shines, but its light will vanish because it is borrowed. So decadence is possible only of that light which is borrowed and is not of its own essence. Now we see that the body, the external shape, has no light as its own essence, is not self-luminous, and cannot know itself. Neither can the mind. Why not? Because the mind waxes and wanes, because it is vigorous at one time and weak at another, because it can be acted upon by anything and everything. Therefore, the light which shines through the mind is not its own. Whose is it then? It must belong to that which has it as its own essence, and as such can never decay or die, never become stronger or weaker. It is self-luminous, it is luminosity itself. It cannot be that the soul knows, it is knowledge. It cannot be that the soul has existence, but it is existence. It cannot be that the soul is happy, it is happiness itself. That which is happy has borrowed its happiness. That which has knowledge has received its knowledge. And that which has relative existence has only a reflected existence. Wherever there are qualities, these qualities have been reflected upon the substance. But the soul has not knowledge, existence, and blessedness as its qualities. They are the essence of the soul. Again, it may be asked, why shall we take this for granted? Why shall we admit that the soul has knowledge, blessedness, existence as its essence and not borrowed them? It may be argued, why not say that the soul's luminosity, the soul's blessedness, the soul's knowledge are borrowed in the same way as the luminosity of the body is borrowed from the mind? The fallacy of arguing in this way will be that there will be no limit. From whom were these borrowed? If we say from some other source, the same question will be asked again. So at last we shall have to come to one who is self-luminous. To make matters short then, The logical way is to stop where we get self luminosity and proceed no further. We see then that this human being is composed first of this external covering, the body, secondly, the finer body consisting of mind, intellect, and egoism. Behind them is the real self of man. We have seen that all the qualities and powers of the gross body are borrowed from the mind, and the mind, the finer body, borrows its powers and luminosity from the soul standing behind. A great many questions now arise about the nature of this soul. If the existence of the soul is drawn from the argument that it is self luminous, that knowledge, existence, blessedness are its essence, it naturally follows that this soul cannot have been created. A self luminous existence, independent of any other existence, could never have been the outcome of anything. It always existed. There was never a time when it did not exist, because if the soul did not exist, where was time? Time is in the soul. It is when the soul reflects its powers on the mind and the mind thinks that time comes. When there was no soul, certainly there was no thought, and without thought, there was no time. How can the soul therefore be said to be existing in time when time itself exists in the soul? It has neither birth nor death, but it is passing through all these various stages. It is manifesting slowly and gradually from lower to higher, and so on. It is expressing its own grandeur, working through the mind on the body. And through the body, it is grasping the external world and understanding it. It takes up a body and uses it, and when that body has failed and is used up, it takes another body, and so on it goes.